Thank you so much, and welcome again to another installment of Unfiltered with Oscar Msomi. And this is episode 34, and today we're featuring Nosipho Mkhize, that is Royale of the Royal Express podcast. She's actually got her hands on quite a number of things, but I'll just tell you a little bit of info about her as we proceed with this beautiful podcast that we're going to be having today. She's actually a radio host. She's just currently, something that is really exciting is the fact that she won that Gagasi FM Hero Award, or Shiro Award. That's what they call it, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you.
Exactly. She's also learned. She's got a BA degree in drama, and she's actually specializes in ballet dancing. We want to really find out how she got into that. Besides that, also, she's into creating social upliftment and a community upliftment. And what she does in that regard is DLA, which she formulated not so long ago. I think it was in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, or 2014 rather, when she came up with that. And she's been making sure that people, even in her own community, get to understand who exactly she is. And she's always lending that helping hand. Nosipho, how are you doing today, sis? Let's jump straight into it. How are you doing today?
Wow. I'm doing good. Thank you. Your intros. Man,
Which I got.
I'm good. No, really. It feels good to be on the other side. I mean, just like I said, I'm used to be the one doing the research and interviewing people, but to hear such things being said, it really does show that, work is being recognized. Umuntu has been actually working all these years.
Listen, you've definitely been doing great. I just want to tell you that I've been following the Royal Express podcast, and the content that you put out there is absolutely amazing. You've got your hands. Yeah, you've actually got your hands on quite a number of things. You're also a blogger on Royal, well, at least it's Royale WordPress. And that's where you put up quite a number of the stuff that you create. And on that, on its own, you've got artists, and you've got people that create a whole lot of stuff that also come under this whole umbrella that you sort of created. Now, your story goes back a long way because you come from Richards Bay in KZN, isn't that true?
Yes, that is true. From Esikhaleni Senkosi in the King Cetshwayo district, which is the township that is connected to Richards Bay. And I was born and raised there, but I had two different worlds. I had multiple roles that I played in life because I was born in 1990. And so that was, the freedom coming out of apartheid. Yeah. So I was one of the first few generations that were able to go to multiracial schools. And so we're integrating with the white communities. And so I had to balance myself, and I had to, multitask and become various characters. And so being a performer and going into arts and drama and performance studies is something that I've been doing for many years since I was a child. And, it's just one of those complications where you're in the township, and then you're in a posh urban area. So that's how I've just become a melting pot of cultures. And so that's how I relate to various people who do different things from various backgrounds, races, nationalities, something that I've always been integrated into.
I think that would also come to play looking at the kind of person that you would end up becoming. The fact that you grew up in this different and dynamic environments, and coming from a person who would, when you're Black, ballet is really regarded as something very special and white. You sort of crossed the boundaries and you sort of owned that space. How has the experience been, and what pushed you to want to do ballet? Because it's quite taboo when you come back to being a Black person.
True. To tell you the honest truth, ballet is something that I rejected at an earlier age. I just wasn't exposed to it and didn't understand it. I'd watch movies. There were things called like the Nutcracker, which was a ballet production that we watched when we were very young. But when it came to choosing what I'd want to do, I didn't necessarily gravitate towards ballet. I started it very late, like age 21, which is very late. Unlike my fellow dancers started at the age of 3, for example. But when I started ballet classes, I was doing contemporary dance coming from hip hop and so forth. But my ballet teacher said that I had a natural talent, I had a natural technique, that my bones and my joints were just able to open up and take in the training very easily and very naturally.
Absolutely
So
amazing.
I
Yeah.
was just, basically born for it in a way. So I just was just very easily got into it, and I incorporated into my contemporary dance. And that's how I just locked into it, just like that.
Yeah, but now with the lovely work that you've done there, I guess that sort of gave rise to something that would be your other project, that is DLA, which you sort of registered in about 2014. That's sort of a community dance kind of initiative where you bring people and youth. Yeah.
Yes, true. I actually, it's the other way around. I started it in 2014. That's when I got my first funding from the National Arts Council. And then I eventually registered in 2017. And then it became a PTY LTD. So I used to teach for free. I worked in Durban. When I started working while I was studying, and I was doing internships in cultural organizations, doing events. And I was hiring artists as a PA and as a coordinator. But then I still had that urge to still be a performer. I wanted to work more with artists. So then I resigned from my office arts corporate job. And then that's when in 2014, I went back home, and then I sorted for funding to then teach for free in the communities, in churches, in youth groups, in schools. In universities and so forth. And that was for free. But when funding was running out, I saw the need that, I need to generate an income. I need to turn this into a business. So it was then that I started charging for classes, and I started applying an entrepreneurial mindset, which
That's correct. You need to do that.
Yeah, which is very, very important, and had to learn how to make an income out of the arts, which then made me open up to now blogging and writing. How do I showcase my talent in various ways so that I'm not only a dancer or a dance teacher? And then hence, that led to now videos, and then podcasts, exploring digital ways of utilizing my creativity in other platforms other than the stage and performance. So with all of that, working with different people, realizing that creatives have other talents other than just performing. So that's how from DLA, which was Dance Life Africa, it was called Dance Life Africa. But because I didn't want to only be in dance, I had to then shorten it, use the abbreviation DLA to then go into DLA Productions. DLA, the Royale Express podcast is under DLA Productions and DLA Media.
Lovely.
So the dance is now in the DLA Academy, where I still teach and still looking to do more other academic things through the creative space.
Yeah, but with the amount of work that you've done, which is absolutely incredible, and we definitely commend you for that. I also want to find out, being a content creator is quite a challenge, especially if you're looking at the time and age that we're in. You will find out that it's quite a lot of content creators that are booming almost every single corner. For you to stay relevant and make your stuff exclusive, we're going to go to the Royal Express podcast, because that's almost a segment on its own. But I want to find out, because you're a person that has touched into a lot of industries, either in dance, either in music or performance arts, or maybe varying all the way into radio. Being a content creator in this time and age, have you found out that maybe there are some challenges that a person can come up across, and how have you sort of gone through that?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem or challenge that one can face as a content creator is being irrelevant. In a time where things are ever changing. We had vloggers and YouTube creators. Now we have TikTok. So I come from that desire of sitting down for 2 hours and really consuming a podcast. That's how I started when I discovered podcast in 2012. I would sit down for hours and consume content. Now there's TikTok. And so now you have to really go with the times and evolve. What's trending on Instagram? Is Twitter still relevant?
There's more competition, basically.
Exactly. And in the midst of all that, with the trends, you still have to be your own person. You still have to maintain your core identity of who are you, and still be able to be identified within the crowds of all these content creators. So for me, the biggest challenge sorry, to say that my biggest challenge has been to still remain myself, but still be relevant in various platforms and ever changing, but still remain the same in my core. That's been very vital.
I guess that's exactly what you need to do, because if you look at the fact that if you sort of change with the winds and you try to keep up with whatever trend is coming up, trends are exactly what they are. They're just trends, and that means they're sort of have a very short lifespan. If you actually look at the example that you made, the reels and TikTok, stuff like that, they only give you a segment of about a minute and maximum of about 3 minutes to be able to put everything and fold it within those minutes. So people sort of have this fast-paced life where they cannot really sit down for 30 minutes to an hour watching one show or maybe following one interview. For you, how have you been able to sort of make sure that while you're keeping to that tradition of making a program that will go for an hour or 30 minutes max, how have you been able to sort of make sure that you give it that crisp, fresh look and keep it relevant so that people can stay engaged for longer?
Yeah, for me, I still keep my original target audience, which is the type of content consumer that wants to sit for a full hour and watch my content. But from there, I then take out little snippets, little nuggets of valuable information that I believe I can then do 30 seconds, like for your WhatsApp status. 30 seconds to share with people something that might be catching, so that there is a new audience that someone can sit for maybe about 15 minutes and consume the content, but at least they are finding it in other platforms. So you do that for that group, but it still leads them to the longer, more in-depth content, which still remains as the core production that I do, which is still my target audience. I still want that type of crowd that wants to sit down and consume long hours of content.
Now, where was it the time that you actually decided to come up with the Royale Express podcast? Because I know that you've sort of had it running for a while, and you will see a lot of podcasts popping and sort of dying off. You created it. When was it, and what inspired you to start that?
Yeah, the thing is, to relate to what you're saying about different podcasts that pop up and then disappear. It's all about why are you doing? What is the intention and what is the story behind what you're doing? That is what really differentiates you from the rest of the gang. So for me, I basically started, it would be 2009 that I came up with the concept that it wasn't a podcast. Wow. I wanted to create a radio station. I wanted to have my own radio station. I wanted to compete with SABC and have my own production and broadcasting studio. I wanted to have a magazine. I looked up to Destiny Mag, and I wanted to compete with them. So all those things that I wanted to incorporate, have television, radio, magazine, all together coming through. Wow. So even getting to the podcast, it's because of all those things in the foundation and the inception of what I wanted, that now it's digital. So still bring in all the different elements. Hence, I have a news anchor, Ujablan Zulu, coming in. I have a copywriter that comes in. I have a DJ that does the music, because I want different departments and different people to handle different things, because that's what happens in a broadcasting media house. You have different team members coming in to do various things, and that's
people
what
playing different roles.
Exactly. We're doing it in a different way, of course. In the way in which you execute your dreams, it does change along the way, but it's still the same dream. I still want to have that media house.
Of course. And the fact that you sort of coming from the background of radio, I know for a fact that when it comes to me, I sort of also dabbled in radio. That's basically where I started. But the few challenges that I came up with was the fact that you sort of don't become that much exposed to your commercial radio stations as much as you'd want to get in, because that's where the juice is. You sort of end up going for those smaller radio stations. But now the problem with the smaller radio stations is that while they are there and they are able to groom you enough, they sort of close down while you are still enjoying the show, and you still want to contribute more into being either a DJ or anything like that. But they sort of close down, and then you have to jump again, and then you end up having to jump again. What I did that's how Unfiltered came about, because it also comes from the same space. I'm a radio guy. That's what I do. But because of this thing of wanting to be in a radio station and then have the radio station closed down, and then you're irrelevant again because you're not in people's eyes or people's ears, I sort of saw that gap, and I was like, I need to fill in this gap. And that's where Unfiltered came from. And from that point, I've been maintaining it from there.
And that's who you are.
You see now,
you're not doing something because it's being done. It's who you are. Like, you have to wake up and do radio, so you have to create your own.
It becomes easier. It becomes easier. Now you're incorporating into the Royal Express, you're incorporating the music element. Now that's very fresh, because with podcasts it's usually dialogue, right? You sort of widened it and made it a bit wider, because you sort of made it want to look something like a radio. What was the idea behind getting a radio DJ who's going to be able to do those mixes? Is it to reach out to more clientele? What was the brains behind that?
It also goes back to what I've been doing in DLA, working with the community, bringing various talents together and training and grooming creatives to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, right? And improving their skills. So the music element was to suss out and find and unravel and unfold and expose undiscovered talented artists that are good quality as well, always focused on high quality music, but as underground, and they don't have space on radio, such as yourself, where you find challenges of being on air and remaining relevant. There are so many musicians and producers and artists out there that are just not getting the radio space. They're not getting the airtime. And you find, what was it called? Payola. Payola for you to be able to get your music on air. So it's just like, this shouldn't be like, there's so many other platforms, and if we're able to create those platforms, let's do them. So I did it myself for a while. I mean, on Facebook, you'll see that I'm a podcaster and a DJ, because I was doing it myself, and people were thinking that I'm using a mixer, but I was just making things happen. But I couldn't focus on hunting down and finding artists, I couldn't spend enough time doing that. So rather give it to someone who their life is music, and they can really focus. And even give them an opportunity to build relationships with various musicians.
That's why it works.
Yeah, because right now they're collaborating. My DJ, LT, he's now collaborating with other musicians that he would have never done before if he didn't have that push of a platform to have a purpose. Every Friday, I need to be making new relationships with new underground local musicians. And so that's
absolutely great
for him to grow in his own industry as well. And, have him flourish.
That's you. I guess that's basically you just extending your hand, and that's exactly how incredible it has been. Now, what I want to find out again is the fact that as a podcaster, it does sort of happen sometimes that you run into a brick wall of not getting guests, or maybe not getting the right guests. Or maybe just having a guest who's just not giving you the right stuff. When you throw questions, they come back with one answers and they don't feedback. I know that you know this, because this is our world.
Yeah.
When you sort of have such issues, how do you save yourself from the embarrassment of, well, I need you to go in more depth when you give me answers? How do you save yourself from a guest who's just sleeping? How do you do that?
You learn as you go, right? You get thrown in the deep end, and then you get put into situations where you have to learn. I think the first time I experienced that was last year in the 2020 lockdown. We partnered with a friend. We did lockdown chats with Nos and Bui, and we were doing that together, the two of us. So the thing that happens is that we were able to depend on both of each other to sort of save each other when we got into it, and keep the energy going. Or we would just talk about our own stories if there was a moment of silence. So then I picked it up from there. That was the first sort of genesis of learning that there are different kind of guests you will have. So you're going to have to do your homework prior. So what I do now, usually I try to engage in conversations on WhatsApp prior to the actual interview, and then I can suss out, how long is the interview going to be. But I've had a number of surprises. I've learned to relax and be myself as well. I've learned to go with the flow and just allow the person to speak. And if there's any silence, I'm not awkward about it anymore, because when you tense up, that's when
it shows.
It even shows on you. But if you relax and even ask the uncomfortable questions, even if the person doesn't want to answer it, make a joke about it and really pester about it, which then you remove the tension from yourself and you give it to the guest, make them feel uncomfortable a little bit, have a laugh about it, and then move on. It all, it makes it natural, as if you're having a first date, and you just have those natural tensions that everyone enjoys. That at the end of the day, it makes it fun. So I've changed my mindset about it. I've changed my energy about it. And it's just like, I feel like I'm just having a conversation with a new person and just relax and go with the flow, no matter what challenge comes.
It's really incredible, eh? It's really, really incredible. Now, you sort of played into studying. I guess everyone sort of needs that kind of background. You have a BA degree in drama.
Yes.
And dance, right?
Yes.
Tell me more about that. How was that experience of because I want to find out. I mean, I know for people who do drama, it's very natural for them. I guess that's why we get the bubbly natural essence that you sort of exude, because you have that within you. Did you have to do drama to extend yourself and maybe have a qualification just for home, or was it something that you were also looking for?
I think I was directed into it by my teachers at school. I remember as a young girl, I was that character. Generations, Queen. I was that annoying child that would stand in front of the television and I'd want people to pay attention.
Act the scene.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm the one in the office with Queen on the other side and at the reception, I'd act that out and people would like brush me off the screen. And at school, I remember I wanted to do accounting because, being a chartered accountant was like the thing. And then literally my maths accounting teacher just chased me out the class and said, go and improve your arts. You're an artist. Just improve that. And they spoke to my mother as well and said, just let Nosipho study whatever she wants to study after school and let her be. And in other cases where parents would not allow their children to do drama, it was by the saving grace of my teachers that I ended up doing drama. And so I got into that. Basically, it was so that I don't just come to an audition with a raw talent. But if I get selected, I also have a degree and I can negotiate a good salary.
You can back it up.
Exactly, that I've actually studied for this craft. We're not all...
There
was no TikTok at the time. There was no King Nuba.
Of course.
Getting famous. We had to study for it at that time. So
Now, I guess we get affirmations and confirmations when we do good things. And obviously, Kakasi FM would be one of those people that sort of picked up and looked, and they sort of noticed that Nosipho is doing amazing things. Now they've sort of nominated you, and you ended up winning that beautiful Shiro Awards 2021.
Goodness.
Absolutely.
That was such a crazy moment. Having Nomalanga Shozi call my name. And that was just like, hey, girl, can we be best friends now?
How did that feel, though? The fact that they called you up there, how did that feel?
It was crazy. It was a roller coaster experience. Of course, it wasn't that blown out with all media press, but even just being recognized, especially, you should know, like with a commercial radio station, a media powerhouse that is recognized globally within our province of KwaZulu-Natal. Like I mentioned, the podcast, the Royale Express podcast, is a KZN podcast, and I've purposely positioned it in the way with all the contributors that they represent KwaZulu-Natal as a whole. So my vision has been about being a representative of KwaZulu-Natal, trying to get close even to the provincial government and making sure that we remain relevant as a KZN podcast.
Of course.
So to be recognized as a KZN ambassador for the Shira Award of 2021 with
content creator,
FM, it's just alignment. It was just that magnificent, divine alignment that I was like, this is beyond me. This is beyond my own power. This is like a greater creator out there that is just making things happen. And it's showing me that I've been putting my head down and doing so many things, but once I aligned with the purpose and this is exactly what I want to do, and I defined very clearly what it is that I want, it all aligns. And just having Gagasi FM as a partner, as a
recognize
brand,
you like that.
It's great confirmation. Great confirmation.
Definitely. I sort of follow the Royale podcast, and I know the people that sort of enjoy Unfiltered as well, because it's sort of new, but I've surprisingly sort of had the good luck of having the right people on my side, like Uzama Kumala of Take Connect. She's been absolutely phenomenal. She's been absolutely phenomenal, and she's been right there next to a podcast, making sure that she's a part of it all the time. I want to find out though, how do people sort of connect with the work that you do? Because as a blogger, I know that your work is on WordPress. How do people get through to Nosipho and find out more about her and her works, your social media links and such?
It's the same way with you. I discovered you by doing an interview with Uzama Kumalo, and that is a friend that I follow, and I've been, we've been getting close over the years. And we started out on as bloggers. I met her through a blogging platform that we were all collaborating on. And so it's by being friends with those people, and then you interview those people, and then you get exposed to certain platforms, and then you follow the Unfiltered with Oscar, and you're just like, oh my gosh, all this content. And so that's how it goes, by people sharing your work. It is word of mouth. It is by people sharing their interview, as selfish as it is, that people will share their interview, and then their friends will see that, and then they'll be exposed to the work that you do, and then they'll see.
But I guess that's where it's supposed to start.
Exactly.
That's exactly where it's supposed to start.
That's where it is. So you just have to constantly work with more people, constantly engage with more people, collaborate with more people, and that's how you get to have a greater network of different creatives.
I guess it's always a great thing to lend a helping hand and also work with other people, because with a bigger network of people, that means your content, or at least your brand, grows in that way, right?
Yeah, I was actually, we were having a conversation with Uzama as well earlier today about that, Guti. Like, why do I like collaborating with a lot of people? And I say, listen, I am not ashamed about asking for help. It is not a bad thing to ask for help. We have strengths, we have weaknesses.
You need to. Yeah,
and you need other people that are stronger in other places. So when I collaborate, that is my way of asking for help. That is my way of showing that I'm a human. I have weak points, and I need you to help me on this side to come on board. And when you come to help, it's not just about me gaining from you, but you also gain as well by
we always bounce off each other. Yeah,
exactly. We grow always bounce off each other. Of
course.
And that's how it is.
Yeah. Well, the Royal Express podcast also touches into, this is probably the final part that I just want to touch into, because it's one of those things that I'm also very much connected to. You touch into deep knowledge and things like your spirituality and how it feels like, and what it means to be African, and what it means to know self and identity. The reason that you think it's important to always know thyself and have that recognition of who you are, and always make that reference of referring to where you're coming from, so that you know exactly what your next step shall be. The importance of knowing yourself.
Interesting, deep question there. That's a long question with a very long answer, but it's who I am. It's a story of my own life, of me learning about who I am, growing up without a father, trying to figure out who I am in this family. Moments, as a creative child growing in the township, in a Black family, you just like, am I going crazy? Am I adopted? What's going on? And so I've had to discover myself. Also being the youngest child in the family, you ask questions and you don't get answered. You get told to do this and it doesn't get explained to you. And I've always been inquisitive. I've always been someone who asks questions, hence my career. So I've had to discover things on my own and learn through the university of life. And so that's what the podcast is also about. That's what my blogs have also been about, that I recognize the value of knowing who you are. And a lot of people struggle. You don't have parents that will tell you everything. And also you don't have friends or peers that know everything, that will explain everything to you. And neither do you have the financial means for a therapist. And doing therapy and psychology is only trending now. It was never a thing back then. So, you know, we also come from a culture where we don't seek professional help for some of the mental challenges that we have as we grow through life. And so that's been my own personal journey. And because I've sought help myself, I want other people to also seek help. If also on my blog and where I started my podcast, I had a journey of depression as well. So through my time of depression and not being able to speak to a therapist and find professional help, I used podcasting and blogging to express myself and to ask other people questions and gain answers elaborately. That was my therapy room. That was my healing place. And
self-discovery.
Exactly. And that's where I discovered myself publicly in front of people. And so that's why I seek to help others to also be able to gain the same.
It's absolutely amazing. I'll actually tell you also, it's something that I've also realized, kind of the fact that it sort of requires you to go through some kind of a cloud, I want to call it dark maybe, where as a creator, it's easier to get into that deep, dark corner of your heart when you sort of don't see the way forward. I don't know. It sort of works in this mysterious way. Whereas if you're in a good space, it takes away the creativity. It sort of minuses or maybe adds a. You know what I mean? There's a veil. Exactly. There's a veil that sort of comes with having people telling you that. No, listen, you're honest and giving you that backup. You sort of need that little bit of negativity and doubt so that you can keep on trying to refine your art. You know, I sort of discovered that because when I went through my own personal journey of self-discovery, I sort of had a lot of people starting to look at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? You know, because I started questioning a lot of things because I was like, well, if I have a question like this in my head, probably there's someone else out there who has the same issue, and I'll bring that to the forefront. And while I do research on that, I sort of pick up that, well, people are actually interested in such things. Your niche, as we draw right to the end, your niche, what you would call the Royal Express exclusive content, would basically be what? Your key niche. What would that be?
Woo, do I have to give a short answer?
I'm trying to behave with my questions.
I want deep thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
Deep thinkers and people who want to take the time to look more deeply at things.
That's right.
That's what it is. And I think I mentioned it earlier that is still my target audience. I want people who can sit down because someone else said this also about this short declining attention span of viewers. That it's actually not true. It's not that people have a shorter attention span, because people can sit down and binge on series on Netflix and keep watching an entire series until the end and then hunger for the next one. Because it's not about the attention span. It's about, are they interested in what you're giving them?
Are you presenting the right stuff?
Are you presenting the right stuff? So I've also learned, similar to you as well, that there are people who want and need what you have to give. And I would be doing myself a disservice if I was going to change myself to follow what the trends are happening, because there's someone out there
Absolutely.
who needs what I am offering. And if I continue to look for those people, I will find them and I will help them. So my niche is always the people that are looking for deeper knowledge, that have a deeper soul searching journey to fulfill. And those are the people that I want to help all the time. And I'm not going to change that, because there are people out there that need that. And if I lose my place, then someone is going to lose out on that help that they were supposed to receive.
Exactly. Besides, you wouldn't have all these followers if it wasn't good what you were trying to produce. The stuff that you're producing is absolutely great. And that's the very same reason why you have the people that are following you. But I guess it's been a great one. And I just want to say thank you so much, Nosipho Mkhize, for the fact that you've given Unfiltered with us, Msomi, this opportunity to have this chat with you.
You
are you're actually a fellow podcaster. You know, I'm actually very excited. It's the Royal Express podcast. Make sure that you subscribe and follow her. She's on Instagram. She's on Facebook. I'm sure that you'll also find some videos of her on YouTube. It's the Royal Express podcast. And it's not just that.
Yes.
Look out DLA as well, because she's got some dance moves that you definitely want to see. And the incredible work that she does. Absolutely amazing, eh?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much again. Right?
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're going to be coming up with some nice surprises of the Royale Express podcast film that we're currently producing. So
I saw that.
Growing and expanding the content for our viewers. Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Hey, thank you so much again. And it's been a beautiful, beautiful episode.
Thank you, Oscar. Take care. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I pray for many blessings and growth to your podcast as well. And let's,
same goes.
Keep the game going.
Let's keep growing.
So much. Yeah.
That's right. Thanks again, eh?
Cheers. Thank you so much. Bye.